Mark the Meerkat here in with Grok Trade with the weekend review. I'm in for D7 while he's still setting up down in Florida in his new residence there. Until then, I'm going to be here. So again, for a little while, I will just be not dead. So let's take a look at these broad markets here for the weekend review. We're going to take a look at the day. We're going to on Friday. We're going to take a look at the weekly chart, and then we're going to pull back and look at the monthly chart. Now that we are at the end of the month here, we just completed April. So let's do that right now. And at the end, then we'll take a look at some FANG stocks, and they all reported last week here. And let's see what kind of effect that had on the markets and on those stocks themselves. So let's take a look here at the SPY here, the ETF on the S&P 500. And here we are. We were at all-time highs here. We were just high basing here for a week and a half. And then this week, what happened? We just, doji right here at the all-time highs. Oh, on Thursday, it popped way up there. And on Thursday, new all-time high on the daily chart right there on the close. And then it pulled right back down here on Friday, closing just fractionally up on the week. And so that's on the daily chart there. So let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average here, and we take again. Well, we're just kind of meandering up here. The all-time highs. We're back here on the 16th of April, and for 2 weeks we've just been hanging around up here at new all-time highs with low volume and high base, low volume. That could mean we're setting up for something to explode to the upside or to the downside. Either way it could go. Here we are, the Nasdaq, after it fell here in February, and then it rose up here from the last part of April. Now we've just been floating around up here. We did hit a new all-time high close here. No, we didn't. We went to new all-time highs, but we didn't have an all-time high close there on Thursday, and we ended up closing again down on Friday. So just about where we ended up last week. And then small cap Russell here, it's off its all-time highs. The all-time highs were back here on March 15th. So for a month and a half now, it hasn't gotten back up there yet. Symmetrical triangle tried to break out. Thursday popped up, and then it just fell the rest of the day, and then on Friday it fell again. So again, now on Thursday and Friday it was increasing volume here as it fell down, but it's been relatively low volume here below this 20 moving average on volume on that market as well. What about bank? Can't go anywhere without bank here on the daily chart. It's just going nowhere here. Now we had all the big huge financial banks, not this past week but the week prior. The big banks all reported here. Look at that barber pole, back and forth, and then we just ended up floating up here for the rest of the week. So even though the banks had fabulous earnings reports, they just did not move those markets. They shall not be moved. How about that VIX, that fear indicator here on the daily chart? We are staying below 20 now. You got to remember 20 and prior to COVID was, if we were above 20, we were considered very high on volatility, and then we stayed up here for 12 months. We stayed above 20. Now we've been below 20 here for the last month or two, but we just can't get back below this 15, which is where we really need to go for complacency. But then again, there are still uncertainties in the markets. There's uncertainty still about COVID, and there's still uncertainties about the geopolitical environment here in the U.S. as well as other countries as to how we're going to recover from the COVID crisis and recover from the shutdowns that we had. Not the COVID itself, but the shutdowns that we had. How are we going to recover from that? All right, hey, now just real quickly here on the daily on Bitcoin. Here's the daily on Bitcoin. It's active right now. On Friday, it did pop back up. It's getting back up here to its all-time highs. But look at this one. Look at this one here. Look at it go here. Ethereum, new all-time highs here. Just broke 28 here. This is on Saturday at 5 o'clock that I'm recording this. Look at that. And this is active. Just went out to new all-time highs there. Boom, on May the 1st there. So that one is on a run as well. And for those of you who might have gotten in coin, remember that was the big huge IPO all about Coinbase Global, and if you'd gotten in here on the first day, it went up there up to 430 bucks, and then it's at under 300 again. Wow, it did nothing but fall. Try to do a bounce up here, but was this called now a bear pullback, rolling right back down? So was that a good investment to be long in? Not in the first week or two, and Romulus did do a warning video on that one. Okay, let's go ahead and let's take a look here at the weekly charts on the broad markets. And go start with the S&P 500, and this is the weekly chart. We are in a rising wedge here. We broke 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now. We broke out above it. We stayed above it. We even tagged it here. Let's take a look here. We even tagged it right there on last week, and then it came back up. And look at that. It didn't. We were up. We were we were up like 2 or 3 little tiny points here for the week. Here we end up just about where we did 2 weeks ago on the close. Here, there, right here on the close. New all-time highs on the close on the weekly, but boy, just barely. Now, that's for the weekly chart. And let's take a look at the Dow. Same thing, just floating up here. Did not get to new all-time highs on the weekly chart as far as closes. NASDAQ, same problem, just sitting up here for 3 weeks. So we're just fluttering up here. We're just fluttering up here. And look at the volume. We'll be low on NASDAQ. We had huge volume here and a pullback, but boy, it was just sitting here on lower than volume here on this high base. What does that mean? Could mean, again, we're either waiting for it to explode to the upside, or it could be setting itself up for a fall. Because even with this earnings parade we've had, and especially the large tech stocks in the last week, what change do you see here for the week? Not much. Small cap Russell here, it's off its highs from a few, and it's the weekly chart here, and it's not back up here to its highs that it had in early March. All right, and then let's go to the monthly chart here on the broad markets. Here's the S&P 500 and the monthly charts. We are going up and up and up here. Look at the last 2 months. Boom, boom. So we end up up about 5% on the S&P 500 for the month of April. And here we are. But what about volume? Because again, last month, look at that volume. Nice and big volume above the 20 moving average for the monthly charts. And now it's back down here, this lower volume here. So it was a breakout on a low volume. Could be suspicious there. And then we've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average here. It too breaking out on lower volume than the previous month, but not quite the breakout that it had the month prior. And now here's the NASDAQ. Look at this. 3 months there. It was almost dojis here. There was doji. 2 of the 3 were dojis, and barely a doji there. Look at that. Huge volume on the month of March. But now April, breaking out just barely new highs there. Well, it's a new high close. Again, what was his volume on the big break? So here we are basing, and then look at that. Huge volume prior month, but this month, lower volume. Interesting on the breakout. So again, suspicious here that these might be fake breakouts, even on the larger time frames, that we just don't happen to have the volume behind them. Now, have we gone, sell in May and go away? Is traditionally what's happened in the past, as far as people will, typically over the summer it's lighter trading and people are at the Hamptons or wherever. Well, last year that all got destroyed. But have people, in April, did they just set their trades and go away on lower volume coming in here? Who's to say? And then we got the small caps here on the IWM here on the Russell 2000. Look at that, up, 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 up. Now it's starting its high base. The other markets broke out here this past month, but not so here on the smaller cap Russell. And let's look at bank on a monthly basis, and it did rise for the month here, so it's not quite flat placing there on bank, so it's still coming on its way back up. All right, let's go back to the daily chart here, and we're going to take a look here at some of the FANG stocks. But before we do that, would you like to learn to trade the Grok Trade way? Well, go to groktrade.com. That's right, groktrade.com, and go to our Training Mentor page right here, Training Mentor, and that'll take us to the page here, and we'll talk about our mentoring program. Now, so I would ask you the question, what would it be like if you could be a very confident, savvy trader which trades proactively and rationally and gets consistent results over time? I mean, that's our whole objective with our mentoring program. Now, our mentoring program's in 2 parts. It starts with a 3-day intensive training program, so we give you the knowledge that you need to be a good trader. The second part of our mentoring program is one that from that point forward, we help you apply that new knowledge that you learn in the 3-day intensive training. Now we're having 3 day intensive trainings here. And by the way, you can read all about it here as you want on that page. Lots to talk about what our training program is and what other people have said about it. But we're going to have 2 sessions, again, 3 day intensive sessions. The first one's going to be led by Romulus. He joined our team recently. He has over 25 years of trading experience in hedge funds. So he knows what he's doing. And it's all about, for him, it's sector trading, and it's about using ETFs to trade the sectors. That's his expertise. The other session is going to be led by me, Mark the Meerkat, and it's going to be May 22nd through 24th. In my experience comes in that I've been investing in stocks for over 40 years, but more importantly, I've been actively trading, swing trading and day trading the markets here for the last 15 years, and specifically day trading for the last 12. But what I come with is also I have 40 years of training experience from corporation, and I've now I have the passion to train people. I have the passion for trading stocks, and this is a marriage that I can really can make a difference in your trading life. And if you're interested in having a discussion about our mentoring program, go to mentor@groktrade.com, mentor@groktrade.com, and there just say, I'm interested in having a discussion about it. Not a sales call, a discussion about what our mentoring program is and what it might do for you. Now, there are a couple of free webinars if you'd like to look at that as well, depending on what you're interested in. And they're down here, listed here a little bit lower here. No, look at this one here. This is from our mentoring program. On this particular slide here, I just went through a mentoring class, and again, it's done by Zoom, so you do it from the comfort of your own home. About the only virus you can catch is a computer virus, right? And then we've got we show 2 different methods to manage your stop once you're in a trade. And on this example here, we've got people who could have made using one method. You made $6 per share on that particular trade. But if you use a second method, that we teach, you end up making $19 per share. Big difference, and it was only the difference was as to which method you were using to manage your stop. Just to compare that there's different ways to manage your stop. So since you don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know which method's going to be best, but we give you different options to manage your trades. So again, that's mentor@groktrade.com if you're interested in that. So hey, let's get back to the FANG stocks here, and I'm going to go back to the daily. And of course, all the big huge tech stocks reported this past week here as far as their earnings. So let's go again. Facebook here, look at that, had earnings back here. Kaboom! It did go up, and then it did pull back here on Friday, but it did end up sustaining its gain. It's one of the few that did. Here's Apple, and it had earnings. Yeah, it popped up. It opened up higher, but then it fell right back down. Now these weren't just any ordinary earnings. They were explosive earnings, over 40% increase in their revenues. I mean, just explosive earnings. But no. After it was high basing there, it ended up dropping down here on Friday. And look at of course, on earnings we had high volume, but then the next day we had even higher volume, and it did. So no. Amazon blew out earnings on Thursday, just absolutely blew them out. But what happened on Friday? Bit back down here. Was up for the week, but clearly not anything on after that. Then we had Netflix. They reported last week, and they reported bam, and they're down here under their 200 moving average. Is that bullish? Nope. So that's interesting. And again, they had great earnings, but they think that their new members are slowing down a little bit from its explosive parabolic growth here it had over the last year. Then we got Google or Alphabet here, which is the home of course, Google, and it was sitting here just under 2300. Boom! It did break out, and now it's falling back down. It tends to want to fill the gap anyway, but yeah. So was there a huge movement in the markets? Well, no. Look at the Nasdaq. It ended up being flat again for this week here. So yeah, these are the big tech stocks that are supposed to be moving the market. And again, they had explosive growth in the last year, but not so much now. Well, that's it. I'm Mark the Meerkat here again. Technical analysis of the markets. They're saying they're in a state of flux. They haven't made a decision. Are they going to go higher, or are they going to do a controlled pullback, aka correction? Anyway, until Des can get his computer and all set up in his new residence there, this is Mark the Meerkat. Trade well, and may your winners run.